Hello and welcome to episode 56 of Pentagon for Gold. Today we are playing our first games in the CONCACAF Champions League as we play against Sporting KC in they're an MLS team. They are expected to finish 18th, which is a bit odd considering they're in the CONCACAF Champions League. Their schedule suggests that they haven't played any MLS games this season. Where did they come last season? They seemed to do quite well last season. Not quite sure how they managed to get into the CONCACAF Champions League. Let's see if we can see their competitions. Can we see them in the old times? It'll be in stages, won't it? Yes. Previous season, where were they? Who were we playing again? Sporting KC. So they won. They came first. Wow, that is quite impressive. And then in the MLS Cup, nothing happened with them. So I don't know why they're predicted to be 18th. Maybe they've had a fire sale, perhaps. Let's have a look at their squad a little bit, I guess. Where are they now? Sporting KC. Players. Or maybe if we look at their transfer history, we can see how many players they've actually sold. No one's gone. No one's gone for 2 years. So I suspect this is going to be a much harder game than the game seems to think. Not quite sure why it's saying this for us. Anyway, if we focus on our own problems, really, there are some problems. We've done okay. We're still top of the league in the Clausura. We had a really tough period here. Tigres, Pumas, and Monterrey, where we actually did really impressively. And you may notice we don't have very many players listed there. So if I go to this game, there's 3 players that have come on in that game. This one we had one player coming on in each game, which was usually Sosa, because pretty much everyone in our squad was on international duty or injured. We had a total of 13 players fit at one time. And for the final game, we had our new signing he was available, but he was technically injured, so shouldn't be playing. And as a result, we only had 12 players to pick from. And they weren't our strongest players, so getting those results against those big teams was pretty impressive. Since our players have come back, we've had Chivas and Querétaro and won 3-0 and 4-1. And yes, so transfer history, there is some bad news. Don't know why it's not showing our transfers there. So you may have noticed we've got a couple of new signings. We've got Diego Hernandez, who looks pretty good. He's 19 years old, is one of the key players in the division, so we got him from Tigres. He was on loan at Querétaro. He's come in for 9 million or so. Edson Rosas has come in from Pumas. He's only 2.5 star, but I think he's actually probably our best winger. He's pretty fast. He's got good flair, good dribbling, first touch, technique. Not the greatest finisher, but as a winger, a natural winger at the age of 18 with lots of potential to grow, I'm excited to see how he does. And he's been pretty decent to start with. He hasn't scored for us yet, but he has got 3 assists this season. Has he got any for us yet? Yeah, all for us as it happens. So I don't know why he wasn't even really playing in Pumas, but he's a key player here already. And I'm very excited to have him in the team. We then went for Wanderlei from Atletico Mineiro. He is technically a central midfielder, but can play centre-back, can play defensive midfield, right wing-back, or right midfield. I'm trying to train him into a right-back because his stats look pretty good for a wing-back, but I don't like playing with wing-backs. And I don't really want to be playing him in midfield compared to the likes of Mercado, because I think at right-back we are a bit weaker. I don't think Calderon's as good as Mercado. So I'm going to try and get this guy trained to be a right back. He's makeshift there at the moment. He's played there a couple of times so far. He was quite expensive, 11.5 million. But supposedly he comes in as one of our better players, and he's a wonder kid as well. So that's big for us. 3-star currently, 4.5 star potential, and a wonder kid. So the likes of Jorge Ramirez have left the club for 15.25 million. Absolute deal for us. 1.7 million we bought him for. Hadn't really featured all that much this season. He was very, very good last season, getting 18 goal contributions in 16 goal contributions in 40 games from a box-to-box midfielder. So he left for 15.25 million. We did offer him out because we thought, get some money and replace. And very happy to have done that. Ed Aguirre has gone to Henan as well for 4.5 million or so, rising to 4.8. If we have a look at Henan, it's a bit weird. They seem to have about 400 foreign players. I'm not quite sure how they're getting away with this, because when I was playing in the Super League, you were allowed, was it 5? No, maybe it was 6, and you could only play 4 in the squad each match day. Very odd. We've also loaned out Eric Levajkovic Galvan, who is one of our better youth players. He hasn't started for us yet, but he's probably going to be there in a couple of seasons' time. Imanol Lester has gone to Universidad Católica for about £2 million. He is 21, was not really good enough to be starting very much, so I thought I might as well cash in on him for a decent amount of money. Richard Ramirez only came in this year, and we sold him pretty much instantly. So we bought him for 625, sold him for 550, rising to 625. And yeah, he just wasn't good enough, but he seems to be enjoying himself so far in the typical Bundesliga, which is the Austrian league. And then the big one, Emiliano Benitez has left us for Hertha Berlin, and it's kind of gutting, to be honest. 21 million, and the board sold him out from underneath me, so it's really frustrating. He was not someone we could replace at that point, because it was after our transfer window, even the foreign transfer window, closed. So that means we don't have very many centre-backs left. We've got Lara Mendieta, Quintero Morones and Jairo Valdez can play there. It's a bit of a problem. Manuel Mino, he is apparently considering asking for a new contract, which I'd be willing to give him if he wasn't asking for a low release clause, because if I do end up leaving at the end of this year, I'd be delighted if there were a release clause in this. But we don't know what's going to happen with the CONCACAF Champions League, so I don't want to be putting in a release clause just for him to go next season when ideally we want to be keeping him. Sakar also has interest from some big clubs. So he's got really good stats now. His aerial reach has gone up recently to 17 from 16. He's such a good goalkeeper and could improve a lot in the future. So he's awesome. I reckon he's going to be the best goalkeeper in the world, because he's 19 is already absolutely class. American Monterrey, don't think there are any problem. Napoli are the ones who I think he would be very upset if we didn't let him go there. So it's going to be difficult, but we'll do what we can to keep hold of him. Or if we go somewhere else at the end of this year, we'll do our best to try and buy him for that 19 million release clause. So here we are. This is our squad for today's game. Now, Quintero Morones starts in centre-back with Mendieta on the right. Unfortunately, Calderon is both suspended and injured. I don't know how so many of my players seem to be on yellow cards, which doesn't make sense because I've not played any CONCACAF Champions League games. I don't really understand it, but like Marcelo and people are all on bookings. I wonder... No, they're all South Americans, so it doesn't make sense. If they come from a North American team, maybe it would be that they just got a yellow card and were one yellow card away from it last time that they played for a team in the CONCACAF Champions League. It makes no sense. I do not understand quite what is going on with this, but some players aren't actually on yellow cards, so there's no clear indication of how it all works. Incidentally, I've just noticed Quintero Morones' name is always slightly too high. I'm not quite sure why. I guess it's quite a long name, but it doesn't make any sense. Anyway, we've also got Mercado and Marcelo starting in midfield. Rafael Chan is on the bench, and Minho starts on the right-hand side to accommodate Camarena. As I thought, Minho hadn't scored a whole lot in the first half of the season. He's been better in the second half of the season, but I think Camarena is starting to hit some form, so it's important that we get him involved as much as possible. Let's see how we can get on against Sporting KC. This game, I've got no idea of what to expect. Supposedly we're slight favourites, but they came first last season, and they're predicted to finish 18th this season. So, yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. Football Manager is a confusing place sometimes, but Mercado's put us ahead really nicely very early on. Doesn't look like Sporting KC have a manager. I don't know if that's because they're not in a loaded league. I'd assume they must be loaded actually, because we are playing. I don't know. Maybe they're. I can see their league table because they're playing a competition that we're playing in. Who knows, really? It's all a bit complicated, but yeah, we're utterly dominating so far. I wonder if maybe they had to release a couple of players on freeze, and that's why they've left. Who knows? But I feel like that would probably show up as them leaving on a free transfer in the transfer history. Anyway, we are dominating this game as we would hope to be. And Quintero Morones finds Jorge Lopez on the left-hand side. Oh, and Minho's there to score a header. 5'5", 5 jumping reach, and he scored a header. But yeah, this is looking promising. We are utterly dominating this game. They've now had their first shot. It was on target, but clearly didn't trouble Sakar too much. And yeah, 2-0 up, 33 minutes in. Can we get a third? Oh, that's a good block in the end. Camarena unlucky not to score there. But the defender was just kind of lucky to be in the right position to stop that, to be honest. Oh, I thought that was going in. Seemed like about 3 shots that should have gone in there. Rosas with a powerful ball in. It's made its way to Minho. And that is the end of the chance. But here we have a corner taken by Minho. And Lara is there to head in. So it's now 3-0 in this first half. Doesn't look like Sporting KC are going to be too much of a problem. Let's see if we can get any more goals. I suspect we'll probably not bother too much in the second half. We won't need to push too much because we're in such a, well, you'd hope an unassailable position that it shouldn't be a problem. Let's just go with that. I can't be bothered to tell them not to be complacent or anything. Just enjoy the game. We're doing well. We can start to rotate some players out at this rate. Likely Minho, Rosas and Mercado, because they were the ones who got tired first. Quintero Morones lays it off into Lara, who finds Mendieta on the right-hand side. He is a centre-back, so perhaps not the greatest at crossing, but doesn't look too uncomfortable out there. And Rosas finds Camarena, who makes no mistake with the finish, gets in on the act, and now all our outfielders are going to have green ratings. That's what we like to see. Sakar letting the team down because he's only had 1 shot to face. Just do some more passes, mate, you'll be fine. Amendoim into Kiccioli. Nunez wins it back nicely, very aggressive. Quintero Morones got options far away. He eventually finds Rosas, sort of more through luck than design. And it's cleared out, and surely, yeah, Jorge Lopez will collect this with no problems. Now Rosas. Jorge Lopez goes for the underlap. And he's now got the ball back. Finds Marcelo. Finds Mercado, who shoots powerfully, but into the hands of Blasquez. Let's get some boys off. Juan Mercado, you can come off for Wanderlei. Rosas can come off for... Let's get Sosa on. And Rafael Chan can come in on the right-hand side. This will be your first opportunity to see Wanderlei. No doubt there won't be any chances and you won't see him at all. But yeah, he's going to be predominantly playing as a right-back when I can. But I felt that there was no need to actually bring him on there because our midfielders were the players who were more tired than the fullbacks. Wow, we have totally 4.44 expected goals. I think this is dominance beyond most Liga MX games that we played, even against the small teams. If we can perform like this in the rest of this tournament, I don't think there's going to be too much to worry about. I think I might end up showing the next league game rather than the next game in this tournament then, because it just seems like a foregone conclusion. Sosa finds Chan into Wanderlei, lays it out for Mendieta and gets the ball back. Finds Chan, and it's cleared out, but Lopez is there to collect. We are completely controlling this, and Chan now, scoops that over the bar. Difficult shot to execute. I probably think that he should have done a bit better. And we're now over 5 expected goals. This is domination like you'll very rarely see. Unbelievable. What a performance from the boys. That was simply sensational. And yeah, I think we'll head into the next league game rather than the next game in this tournament, because frankly, if we lose to Sporting KC, we're going to need words with the players. Incidentally, I did mention that Sakai had some big interest from Napoli. I think he's going to be leaving us at some point, because Arsenal and Liverpool are both interested now. Yeah, he's not going to be sticking around very long, and he's going to be very difficult to get in the future, particularly because I'd never managed Liverpool, and I probably wouldn't want to manage Arsenal either. It's going to be difficult to keep this guy, or even to pick him up if I go to Brazil next. So here it is against Tijuana, and we are going with a pretty strong squad again. Juan Calderon finally comes back into the squad. He's basically not played for about 2 months. Barbosa starts on the right hand side, so Minio's gone back into the striker position, and Mercado and Marcelo start again in the midfield with Diego Hernandez on the bench, ready to come on for either of them really. Let's get going with this. Tijuana, as it happens, are 20th in the league, so we should be beating them. They have got some points. They've got 2 points. It's not really like them and Toluca, to be honest. They're both probably better teams than that, so I don't know whether they've just had rough runs so far or whether there's something wrong with their squads, but it's not exactly what you'd expect from them. Mercado, though, puts us ahead again very nicely. Good positioning from him. Rosas beats his man really nicely. Good pace. And then probably Carlau, don't know how to say that name, should intercept, but he doesn't, and that allows Mercado to get a nice finish, arriving late into the box, Lampard-esque. Mercado into Nunez now. He's got a good run there from Marcelo. It was a really nice run, timed it well, good pass as well, finding him, but just got a bit too close to the keeper, so he was able to close down the angle quite easily. And now Barrera claims the ball pretty comfortably, but we are still controlling the play. Jorge Lopez's throw-in is only headed out to Nunez, and now Marcelo and Nunez share a few passes. Finds Mercado into Minho, and he's tucked that into the corner under the keeper very nicely. And 2 goals in 4 minutes. As always, we're starting the Clausura and the Apertura as well. We're starting very well. Oh, we've actually played fewer games than everyone else. I'm not quite sure how that's happened. I feel like we've played quite regularly recently. Here is Calderon throwing it into Mercado. Calderon, incidentally, will need to come off ideally 45 minutes in. We might stretch it slightly beyond that and then bring on Wanderlei. And Wanderlei is also on a fitness test, so bit of a difficult situation with those fullbacks, but it'll be good to get Wanderlei some minutes at right back so that he can actually learn the position quite well, and it'll be useful if we can do that while in a position where, you know, him not fully knowing the role won't be too much of an issue. That looked like a good challenge to me. The referee is going over to review the footage, but if that's a penalty, I'd say it's harsh. Let's see what he's got to say. You never quite know what's going to happen with VAR, unless it's on the edge of the box, in which case it's nearly always given as a free kick. But yes, no penalty. Good decision in my opinion. It was a good challenge. Very convincing. Calderon into Mercado. Oh, it's a great ball into Minho. And he now looks for Rosas, who's there. It's a really good header, actually, from Rosas. Not what he's known for. Keeper did a good save, but Rosas makes no mistake on the second attempt. Wow, what a strike from Rosas for his first goal for us. That might even be his first goal ever. Let's have a quick look. History. No, he scored 1 goal in... Oh no, that's his first senior goal then. Because that goal was presumably for their youth team, or their B team at least. 3-0. Good work from the boys, and let's get Wanderlei on since Calderon can't play the full 90. Oh, that's not Wanderlei. Doesn't show up as a right back yet, but he will. He will. I'm determined that he will definitely show up as a right back pretty soon. Barbosa finds Wanderlei. Looked like he was going for an overlap, but then stopped short. Nice, really nice play though from Migno. Slipping in Rosas. Don't know how he managed to see him like that and execute a really good pass. And then Rosas unlucky not to score there. Good save from the keeper. Torres. Barzola. Beats Jorge Lopez all hands down, but eventually, actually that's a really good bit of defending. Manages to knock it off him for a goal kick. I think probably we'll be looking to get Mercado and Mendieta off soonish. Get Mercado off now because he's definitely been threatening to tire throughout the game, so Diego Hernandez can come in there. And then Mendieta will probably come off towards the 75-minute mark. He's played a lot recently because he's been playing centre-back and then right-back. And particularly with Benitez now gone, it does make it a little bit more difficult to rotate the centre-backs or even just keep them fit, because if one of them gets out, we've got 2 fit centre-backs in the entire squad. It's difficult. A few players starting to tire now, but we're getting towards the end of the game, so it's not really a problem. It's been quite a quiet second half, just letting things continue. Wanderlei getting a little bit dragged out there. And that's where the goals come from, but at least we're in a position where it doesn't cost us too much. Annoying for Sakara, obviously, not to get that clean sheet. He's missed out on quite a lot of clean sheets this season, I think. But yeah, he's just a bit unlucky sometimes. A good win. We've had lots of goals that go in right at the end when we're already comfortably winning, and I think that's part of the problem for Sakar. It's probably frustrating for him, but, you know, he's not going to be too worried about how he does in the Liga MX when he's playing in the Champions League final for Arsenal or Liverpool. Hopefully for whatever team I end up in the reasonably distant future, I'd imagine. Well, to give you a small update on the result of the second leg of the CONCACAF Champions League game, we won 1-0 with a goal from Migno, despite rotating pretty heavily throughout that game. That meant we went through on aggregate 6-0, and we're going to play Pachuca in the Champions League quarter-final. And if you have a look at the other teams left in, wow. There's a Jamaican team and a Costa Rican team that are in the tournament still. And unfortunately we got Pachuca, who always are pretty good. They're 11th this season though so far. Where did they come in the Apertura? They came 4th. So they're definitely a good team, and probably will be harder than the likes of Arnett Gardens and Saprissa, both of whom I don't think even have any real players on this, so shame not to get them. Anyway, we'll come back for... Oh wow, it's a triple bill of Pachuca. We'll come back for the Pachuca games in March, which is not too many games away, just 3 more games before that. And hopefully we'll be able to get through into the CONCACAF Champions League semi-finals, where hopefully we'll end up playing against particularly that Jamaican team, I'd imagine, if not that Costa Rican team. It would be a shame if they went out to someone else, because we could get to the final by being one of those guys, if we can beat Pachuca, and I kind of fancy that route through. Anyway, if you have enjoyed this episode, please do leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channels. It really helps me out. I hope to see you next time, but in the meantime, have a fantastic day.